Hi everyone, this is Barb Bruno, and I want to welcome you to today's call, which is about increasing referrals and profits. Before I get into today's program, I want to share an experience I had yesterday. I was actually invited by a very large management consulting firm out of Canada to participate on a panel yesterday. And the panel was comprised of corporate executives that are all involved in the hiring, talent acquisition process. And the audience were, hundreds of corporate executives that basically attended this program because they were talking about the importance of the candidate experience. And before we actually got into the program and they were interviewing us as panel members, it was interesting because I was the only one representing our profession again. And I'm trying to do that more and more. I'm trying to get in front of corporations to show them why they should use us. And of course, the participants realized I was the only one on the panel that was from the staffing and recruiting profession. So when they did open the floor for questions, I got more questions than anybody. And it just, it was before the call even started, they were doing some surveys and polling of the people on the lines. The good news is every single company that was on that call yesterday was intending to hire and hire pretty strong in the third and fourth quarters of this year. And these companies were basically from the United States and Canada. So it was nice seeing that, a nice cross sections of companies, are basically looking to, hire this year. They're looking to, expand departments. And it was interesting because when they were asking them, what is your greatest challenge? As a corporate executive right now, what is your greatest challenge that you're facing? And without exception, it was something like 89% of the people on the call yesterday said finding talent, that was still their most tremendous challenge. And then they asked him, what areas are you having the most problems in? And I don't think it would I'll surprise you either, that the area that was surprising the most was IT. That was the one that was frustrating. That was the one that they couldn't find people, that jobs are remaining open, for a long period of time. And they were also saying that the period of time that jobs are open is basically increasing rather than decreasing. The other thing I realized in yesterday's phone call is that they really don't realize, and they weren't doing anything to really pay attention to the recruiting cycle, and when they were asking me, what is the greatest frustration? And I just said timing. We get orders, we get contracts, and then you go out there and you find the talent, and then the process becomes a much longer drawn out, process. And so it's timing. And so they were asking me a lot of questions on where I felt they could streamline or how could they attract talent. So the reason I'm sharing this information with you is because today's program is all about increasing your referrals and your profits. And I'm telling you, just by being on that phone call yesterday, it was interesting. They were asking me so many questions, and you could see that they realize that they need us. They realize that it's just, more difficult than ever to find talent. And I know as owners of staffing and recruiting firms, sometimes that's very frustrating for us. But as I explain in a lot of my phone calls, if it was easy to find candidates, nobody would need us. So when it's really hard to find candidates, when it's really difficult, that's the best marketplace for all of us. As an owner and a manager, we want that. We want it to be hard to find talent because, again, then more companies rely on us. So I was just really very happy about that call yesterday. And out of they did a poll and they said, how many of you intended to hire, more than 10 people, in the middle management level and above, in the third quarter of this year? And it was something like 95% of the attendees. And then when they asked, how many of you think you're going to have a stronger fourth quarter than third quarter when it came to hiring, it was something like 85% of the people on the phone said they were going to hire more in the fourth quarter than they are in the third. So the business is out there. It's just a matter of going out there and getting it. And as an owner and a manager, you've got to keep one thing really always, in the forefront. You're in business to make a profit, not to provide jobs for people, not to, it's not a hobby. You got to be making money. And so, we're going to talk about a couple ideas today that I know for a fact will help increase your referrals and your profits. But I just had to share that story because the call was very gratifying. I didn't know what to expect because I knew all the other panel members were corporate executives. And often when I've been on past panels, they want to hear from the corporate executives versus the person from our profession. And yesterday it was the opposite. opposite. They had so many questions, and the feedback, the consulting group called me after the call and they said, the response to you, Barbara, was so strong. We'd love to bring you back because what we're all realizing is we don't know enough about your profession. And the person that had asked me to do this had 19 years of human resource consulting, and even that person did not know enough about what you and I do for a living. And it's our job as the owners and managers to get out there and get the word out there, because truly people need us more than ever. So let's get into today's program now. But again, I had to start with that just because it was a very exciting call for me to just see their response. Individuals in our profession, the people that we employ, are motivated in addition to money by making a difference and improving lives of the people that we touch. Now, this is a positive and a negative for a business owner in the staffing and recruiting profession, because the people we hire, they see their ability to make a difference. But the problem is many of them are social workers who like money. They really want to help everybody. They love giving free advice. They love the human element of it, but what they have to realize is they're only going to help a very small percentage of who comes to you. And yes, we can improve the lives of the people we touch, but they're not going to place everybody. You're going to place less than 5% of the people that your firm attracts. And so when you think about the people you employ, a lot of them, the favorite part of their job is the free advice they can give. And I know that for a fact because I've had owners come to me and say, Barb, it's incredible. When we surveyed our own team and asked them what they enjoyed most, they enjoyed the functions that don't make us a dime. And it's not a bad idea for all of you to do that. Survey the team you currently have. What is it about their job that they love most? If they go, I love people, I love helping people, I love giving, free advice, I love when they ask me questions, that's not a person that's going to make you money. And as an owner, you've got to be very aware, and so do the people that work for you have to be aware of the fact that we have to focus where it's going to generate revenue and referrals. Owners in the staffing and recruiting profession worldwide are motivated by generating profits, increasing referrals of top talent, and of course improving the lives of the people we touch. Now, the increased referrals of top talent, I have to ask all of you on the line, how many of you have a referral process where you know exactly what time throughout the process that everybody that works for you is going to ask for referrals? The reason you're not getting enough referrals of top talent is, quite frankly, you haven't put structure around your referral program. There has to be a very structured referral program in your company. And you should compensate for referrals, whether it's a gift certificate. If you get somebody referred to you and you place them in a job, too many people are paying for referrals right now, including your clients. And if you're not, if I'm somebody that has somebody that I know is a really good candidate, I'm going to probably refer them to the person who's going to, compensate me for my efforts. 100% of the individuals attracted to your business expect you to find them a job, a contract, or a temp assignment. Currently, we disappoint over 95% of them, and they're venting their frustrations on social media, which negatively impacts your profits. It's so interesting because the panel yesterday was all about the candidate experience. That's what it was about, and it drew hundreds of corporate executives, and what they were discussing was the importance of the candidate experience. I was also showing them that, when you're taking a candidate through a recruiting firm or a staffing firm, the mentoring that we do, the guiding that we do, that we really put our arms around these people and they feel we care about them. They know they can trust us. We really do present a very good light, for the clients that we're representing. But the program yesterday was all about the candidate experience. And what's worrying your company, your clients, and what's starting to worry everybody is the candidates that are not hired, okay? They could be future customers. For instance, there was the top person yesterday on the panel from Pizza Hut. And this is a woman that basically is in charge of, global Pizza Hut talent acquisition. And what she was saying is, who we're ignoring, we worry about the people that we interview and don't hire, but what about all the people that submitted a resume and never even heard from us? Those could be our future customers. They could say, I applied at Pizza Hut. They didn't even acknowledge the fact that I sent a resume. Why would I go there? And so when candidates are not hired, these could be future customers, future hires. If you're not going to place somebody today, that doesn't mean that in the next 2 years they're not going to get the skills, stability, and experience that your clients want. So it could be future hires for your company, future placements. These people could become future competitors. And also, if you treat candidates right, they will become a referral provider for you. But if they're not treated right, they're not going to provide referrals for you. And corporate America is starting to pay millions of dollars to improve the candidate experience. And they realize that they have to improve the experience for the people that they hire. Once they onboard them, they have to improve the experience for people that they interview and never hire. And we talked yesterday about the lack of communication. And I said, if you're using a staffing or a recruiting firm and you're not giving us feedback, that candidate feels, slighted. They feel that you didn't care enough about them to give them a reason. And they're really worried about the candidates that apply that they never talk to. It was estimated yesterday that Google gets, I forget what the number was. It was over 50,000 unsolicited resumes a month. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine if your company got 50,000 unsolicited resumes a month? Now, it sounds, pretty glamorous where you don't have to advertise, but can you imagine the money it costs to just go through that and figure out which candidates are qualified? Imagine the satisfaction of being dramatically improving the candidate experience for everybody. Just imagine that for a minute. Not just the people you place, not just the people you interview, not just the people that are in your niche, but every candidate that you attract. And those of you, all of you as business owners should be part of your community. The people in politics should know you. The people that are business owners should know you. And what are you noted for? When you're out there and you're in front of a group, what is being said about you when you're not there? What's being said about you behind your back? And understand something. You can't place everybody that comes to you. People always ask me, Barbara, is that 5%? Is that really true? That's true worldwide. That's true in South Africa. That's true in Canada. That's true in the UK. And the reason we only place 5% of the candidates we attract is the candidates don't have the skills, the stability, and the experience. They're the least placeable candidates. They've jumped around, they've got unrealistic expectations, or there's major red flags in their background, or they're outside of your niche. If you're a boutique firm, the best thing you could do now is really, focus on your niche and focus on getting more focused within your niche. The firms that are making the most money are placing less than 10 titles. And they're trying to get it closer to 5 titles within their niche. And the reason is then your database matches the business that you're writing. The problem with this is, and you could see why we only place 5%, but remember, 100% of the people that come to your company, their expectations are that you're going to find them a job. And they're the ones that call in the most frequently. They expect you to find them a job. They expect you to provide them with career advice. They often view you as a lifeline. Like, I sent my resume to this recruiting firm. They're going to find me a job. And they stop looking. But unfortunately, I want you to understand something as a business owner. When we were polling different companies this last 6 months, the average recruiter spends 60 to 90 minutes a day on the candidates they will never place in jobs, because these are the candidates that call in the most. These are the candidates that take up most of your recruiter's time. These are the candidates that call in constantly for updates. These are not the people you're ever going to place in a job. The other part about these candidates is they're the ones that are the most vocal when you don't provide results. They're on social media. When I went into this business 25 years ago, there were no social media sites. There was no internet. I mean, when you think about, how different our world is right now. When somebody would get angry with my firm, they might tell their neighbor, they might tell their best friend. Now they can tell 1,000 people in a matter of seconds, can't they? It's interesting. We surveyed the candidates we don't place. We basically, every year we send out, surveys to the people we placed in jobs, having them rate us. We send people surveys that we sent out on interviews but didn't get hired. And then we sent out surveys to the people that came to us. We never contacted them. They didn't have what we needed. And we basically wanted to see what their experience. I guarantee you, if you survey the candidates you don't place, and you just go out a survey and ask them about your company, ask them how they feel about the staffing and recruiting profession, you would not be happy with the responses. I mean, it shocked me. It shocked me because the truth of the matter is, in any relationship, whether it's a friendship, whether it's an emotional relationship, it's your personal relationships, your business relationships, people want to know 3 things. They want to know if you care about them. They want to know if they can trust you, and they want to know if you're going to do what you say you're going to do. If any of those 3 things are missing, that's when the relationship between you and your clients and you and your candidates break apart. because this is what we really have to establish. And as a business owner, you've got to teach this to your people. You want to increase profits, they've got to realize that the people that they're dealing with have to trust you, they have to know you care about them, and you have to keep your word. When you don't find candidates a job, their perception is that you failed at all three. Imagine this. I sent you a resume. I never hear a word back from you, and I was told that you've got jobs. In fact, maybe somebody from your office even called me and asked me to send in my resume, and I'm not hearing anything. But on the other side of this discussion, the success of your business and your increased profits really depends to a great extent on your ability to focus everybody that works for you on the 5% of the candidates you're going to place on a job, in a contract, or on a temp assignment. Your sales team should control their destiny by their planned outgoing, not those incoming calls. And most of the incoming calls are from people you'll never place. And so as an owner, you want to have a better quarter this third quarter, better quarter this fourth quarter. What you have to do is you have got to get your people to plan 100% of their outgoing calls every evening before they leave work. They should be writing down the 6 things closest to the money that they have to do the next day, and they can't leave the office until they do those. And that's when they don't forget a prep. That's when they don't forget a reference check. They don't forget to get feedback after a send out. Everybody that works for you should write down the 6 things closest to the money, and then they should have all their planned outgoing calls. If your people are not planning right now, and you may have them say, I don't have time to plan, you can't afford not to plan. And those of you owners and managers that are working a desk, you've got to be the best planned person in your office, because you've got 3 or 4 full-time jobs. You want to change, you want to change the destiny of your company in the next couple of quarters. Make everybody plan, mandate it, and then also just watch one stat. Watch the send out to placement ratio. You've got to know how many people have to be sent out. If you want to have more success this quarter than you did last quarter, send more people on in interviews, and then monitor everybody's send out to placement ratio, because the job order to fill and the send out to placement are the 2 ratios that should be the most important to you. And if you're not managing by numbers and you're managing by emotion, you have no control over your destiny. You have no control over your profits. If you want more referrals, there has to be a referral process. If you want more profits, there has to be a process to monitor stats so that everybody knows what results they need every day. Now, your reputation as a business owner depends on your ability to nurture and to form enduring relationships. It's interesting when I meet with owners, and I go inside many companies, and I love to meet with the owners and see how involved they are with their companies. The ones that are the really most successful are the ones that are out there. They're meeting with their clients. The clients know them by name. They know everything about their clients. It's a personal relationship, and it's based on trust. It has to be the same thing now on the candidate side. Because again, the candidates are going to be in control for many years now because of the aging baby boomers, because of the way the economy is flipped over. It's going to be candidate driven for a long time. So that same type of nurturing and enduring relationships that we've built with clients ever since, this profession has been in existence, this now has to happen with candidates as well. And you can just provide, results and resources to every candidate that includes increased candidate referrals, positive posts on social media sites, improved word-of-mouth advertising, and increased profits. So these are the benefits. If you provide results and resources to every candidate, that contacts your company, whether you find them a job or not, if you give them some type of information, you will see increased referrals. If you don't help me, I'm not going to refer people to you. If you don't help me, I'm going to go on my Facebook page. I'm going to blast you. I'm going to go on your website and put some nasty comments. People are very, very vocal, aren't they? And by the way, everybody, there's been too many instances where candidates are recording when they're in your offices. They are recording with their telephones. And so you've got to be very careful what your receptionist says. Are they saying the same things to every person that's walking in the door? When they're interviewing them, do they run a structured interview? You've got to protect yourself as an owner, because, phones are a recording. They can record, they can take videos without you even knowing it. And you might say, well, that's illegal, but it could end up on YouTube and it could destroy your business. So again, be very aware of some of these trends that are happening right now. Now, I might sound like I'm contradicting myself when I realize that, because I'm telling you to focus on the 5% of the people that you're going to place. I'm telling you to get your whole sales team to focus on the 5% that you're going to place. And yet I'm telling you that as a business owner, you have to nurture the other 95%. Do you know that the candidate experience starts before you ever recruit a candidate, before you ever bring them in your office, before you ever talk to them? And it's, what is your brand in the marketplace? What kind of reputation does your company have in your city, in your province, in your state? You know, what is your reputation? You know, behind your back, what are people saying? In order for you to nurture this other 95%, I'd like to offer you with two solutions. Number one, you've got to create a resource that's going to help individuals that you don't place, because your future success depends on it. Or you might look at our Happy Candidates career portal. Because what this does, what the career portal does, is it helps 100% of the candidates your firm attracts. Candidates think you created this for them. It absolutely has increased referrals for our clients. It's improved word-of-mouth advertising, and there's no call-ins from candidates you won't place, which puts that 60 to 90 minutes back in the day of your sales team. Your sales team is constantly complaining, aren't they, that they don't have enough time to do everything. Half the time they're wasting their time. They're taking incoming calls, they're giving free consulting, and that's why there's not enough time to get their job done. The staffing and recruiting firm owners that have our Happy Candidates career portal have shared the following results with me after setting up their career portal. Number one, it's increased sales and profits. It's basically eliminated their greatest time waster, and those are the incoming calls that the candidates would never place. And again, it generates income. So the career portals generate passive income. Now, I know I've got people from Canada on the line. I don't know if I have anybody outside of the United States and Canada. Right now, the career portal only works in the United States and Canada. We are going to go global after the first of the year next year. We're launching a brand new career portal in September of this year that will have many more bells and whistles that a lot of you have asked for. But again, right now this is only available in Canada and the United States. And think about this. What could your recruiters do with 90 minutes? If they just took that 90 minutes and focused on the 5% of people that they're going to place, do you think they'd have more time to increase referrals? Do you think they'd have more time to ask for referrals? Absolutely. You know, because they're not so, they always feel like hamsters. There's never enough time to do things. Well, half the time they're wasting time. They're wasting time on those people you're never going to place in a job. Staffing and recruiting firms, again, have shared the following after setting up their career portals. The candidates, everybody that comes to them is much happier, and their recruiters are much happier, because guess what? When they're more successful, they make more money. And all of a sudden they realize, wait a minute, once they stop doing it, they realize they're making best use of their time and they're making more money. And guess what? So are you as the owner. Many of the job seekers who have used the resources in the career portals, and by the way, these are people that normally we would have all but ignored. These are the people that normally would have hated us, and now they're sending the staffing and recruiting firm owners thank you notes and cookie bouquets and flowers and candy. But most importantly, their referrals have definitely increased because they're happy. You didn't find them a job, but you gave them a resource that was free to them that helped them find a job, and that's why they're happy. I'm all about, the only reason I train is so you can make more money, and as a business owner you can be more profitable. That's all I care about. And so everything I do on behalf of our profession is so that you can make more money. The other thing I want to mention here, other benefits, is this is a real differentiator from your competition. The site does generate passive income. You will attract new clients anytime your company calls a new client and they say, we're cutting back, we're laying off, we're downsizing. You can say, we've got a free resource that your employees that are downsized can utilize if you'd like to refer it. Clients love it. They love that they've got someplace to send the employees that are being downsized. They even, like all of our clients use our career portal because they love to send the people they're not hiring to it. Because guess what? Your clients have the same problem. They have tons of people applying for jobs. And when they don't hire them or they don't answer, these candidates are calling their HR departments and driving them crazy. They go, the incoming calls are just ridiculous at this point. And so your existing clients can utilize the resource. Also, I like the ability to reach out to people we've never been able to help. We've set these up for battered women's shelters and churches and schools, and it's nice to know that you can reach out and help people who really need you that you've never been able to help before, because it doesn't make you money. Now, a picture is worth 1,000 words, and so what I want to do really quickly here is I want to just show you our career portal for just a second. And the reason I want to do this is because I want you to see it. And what I would love for all of you to do, what I would challenge all of you to do, is after this call is over, log into the career portal and go in there as a job seeker. And the reason I want you to do that is because if you go in as a job seeker, you'll have the same experience they have. And it's nice for you to go in there and see what this does, because now you're going to see why these job seekers love this so much. What you're looking at now on your screen is just the home page of the career portal. This is what your job seekers would see. It would not say HR search. It would be the name of your company, the address of your company, the phone number of your company. Right now we've got an aggregate job board on the home page. It's the Indeed job board. We've also got all the Canadian job boards in the system. Most of you don't want the job boards on the home page. So the new version of the career portal this fall, you're going to be able to list your job orders on this front page. It'll be optional if you want to list them or not, but you'll be able to list your job orders on this home page. And what we've done here, we've basically torn down or really segmented the interviewing process, the process of finding a job, into 3 areas. The first area is prepare. And under prepare, we showed them how to assess their abilities, how to select targets. There's a resume builder in here that they can use. We show them, how to write resumes. We give them sound advice. We set standards. How do you set goals? What about time commitments? We give them a tremendous amount of resources they can use. Then they go to the second phase of the job search, which is search and connect. And under that, we show them, how to market their abilities, how to network. How do they build up a lifetime network, personal, business, general, social? How do they handle job fairs? We then show them how to schedule interviews and informational interviews. Every time they ask us a question, we do live calls for these job seekers once a week. They think we work for you because we get on the call and go, "Hi, welcome to this week's job seeker call. We're here today to try to help you find a job." Then we do 20 minutes of training and we do 40 minutes of answering questions, and we answer every question before we get off the line. So these job seekers think your company's doing this for them, doing these calls for them. We also show them how to handle interim employment and marketability. And the interesting thing that I want to share with all of you, many times these job seekers complain to me about search firms or staffing firms. They don't know I'm the owner of one. And so I show them how to better utilize us. I explain how we work. And so they have a much better impression of what we do and who we are, because that's what this is all about, making everybody love who we are and what we do so they keep using us. We want them to keep using us and sending their friends to us. The last phase of the job search you can see right now is research. How do you research salaries and research information about the company? All interview strategies and how to overcome objections, how to follow up, how to negotiate an offer, and then how do you wrap it up when you're done with your job search. The nice thing about this is all this information is kept in the career portal, so when they're looking for a job in the future, who are they going to think of calling when you've provided them something like this? You're the person that's helping them. You're the person that's giving them a resource. And when they want to do something in the future, believe me, your name is going to be at the top of their mind. Now, there's a lot more to the career portal. I mean, it does a tremendous amount of things. I just wanted you to see it very quickly. But what I want you to know is that basically this is something that you could set up in a matter of 10 or 15 minutes. In 10 or 15 minutes, your basic candidates could have this, and they would think it's something that you developed for them. And that's why this is so important. That's why this is so important that you realize that this is something that they're going to love you for, because they're going to realize that you're helping them. You're helping everybody. So their impression of you is going to be you really care about them. Now, if you want to view a career portal after this call, all you have to do, you can register as a fictitious job seeker on this site. The site is www.myjobsearchresources.com. That's a dummy site that we set up. So if you want to see how this really works, or if you don't want to participate in our career portal, but you see the value of providing resources, you can go in here and get some ideas and develop something yourself. I don't care if you utilize what I've created, because I did this for my company. I never intended to sell this, but then when other owners saw this, they're like, "Barb, can you private label this? Like, we all want this." And so, basically you've got three options. You could do nothing and continue to assist only the 5%. You could develop your own site of resources, which is a good idea. And by going to mine, you'll have a ton of ideas. Or you could set up one of our career portals that'll look like your business did this. Now, obviously, I think choice number 3 is the best decision. But, you're the one in control. You've got to do something, though. If corporate America is putting so much attention on the candidate experience and they're spending millions of dollars trying to improve it, we have to do the same thing in our profession. We've got to take their lead. And again, if you want to view a tour of happy candidates, we've got a link here, and we will send this link to anybody on this call, or you could just call our office at this number and we'll send this link to you. And I think that's the better suggestion, is just call our office and we'll email the link where you can copy and paste it. Anybody on this call today will receive a 40% discount on the first year investment. And the reason I'm doing this is we're going to change pricing once we launch the new career portal. I'm trying to get as many people as we can in on this pricing because, whatever pricing you have when you come in, when we keep increasing pricing in the future, we don't increase your pricing. So you can get a 40% discount on the first year investment, and the following year you'll have our pricing that's in effect, right now, not the new pricing when we launch this fall. This offer is not on our website. If you want to take advantage of this, you've got to call our office, or you can send an email to support@staffingandrecruiting.com. Just put career portal in the subject line, and if you put career portal in the subject line, then we'll know what this is about, and we will send you the information. And so what I want to do now is I want to see if there's any questions that any of you have for me that I can answer. And again, if you don't want to ask a question and you'd rather talk to us personally, just call that number. We'll be glad to answer any questions you have. But as a business owner to business owner, we've got to start really thinking about all the people that come to us that we do nothing for, because they're getting so vocal, we can't afford it. As a profession, we can't afford to have 95 out of every 100 people that send their paperwork in out there bad-mouthing us in the job market, because it's going to limit your success, it's going to limit your profits, it's going to limit your referrals. And that's why whether you do something through me or you do something on your own, and I could tell you the call yesterday was very eye-opening for me. Even though I've been studying this now for 3 years, I was amazed to listen to these corporate executives from Canada as well as the United States, and just their impressions, and especially how they feel about us. Let's see, this is David. This is a great concept. I love your ideas, and building trust is so important. And that's what it is, David. It's building trust, because when we get on the calls with them, the job seekers that register in this career portal, it doesn't cost them anything. They register, and the minute they register, they get an email from your career portal, your URL once a week, which is called a career advisor. And the career advisor is telling them when the free calls are happening. It's telling them where some things can be located in the career portal. And you're trying to develop rapport and trust. And think about this. People send you a resume, and if you never reach out to them, they don't know why you didn't reach out. They just have a bad feeling. And so, when do people talk the most to other people? They don't talk the most when they're happy. Think about your cleaners. If you went to your dry cleaners and you picked up your cleaning and everything was okay, do you go to work and talk to anybody about the dry cleaners? Or do you tell your friends or your family member about your dry cleaner? Probably not. But if you went to pick up a suit or a silk blouse and your dry cleaner had a big burn mark on it, and they refused to do anything about it, and they said they're not going to pay for it, and that it was your fault, you would probably tell other people in the cleaners, you would tell people in the parking lot, you would tell the people at work, because you're so upset because something was ruined. And that's the problem. We don't know the damage it's doing, but I can tell you it's costing all of you a lot of money. And I've priced this at the point where if you promote this career portal to people, it pays for itself, because it does generate some passive income. So this resource is a resource that will pay for itself. Many people are making money on our career portal. And, we can explain more how that happens, basically, once you go in here. Let's see. I have been on the other side and never heard back from organizations, and that was very depressing. That's what we're hearing. And see, I'm surveying job seekers constantly, and their opinion of us is they come to us, 100% of the people that come to you expect you to find them a job. I don't think we've ever realized that. I mean, I think we kind of knew it, but they really do expect us to find them a job. They don't care if they have no experience and no skills and a terrible work history. They expect us to find them a job. That's what they've heard that staffing and recruiting firms do. So thanks for sharing that you were on the other side, and it was very disappointing because that's what corporate America's afraid of. And you know what's happening to us? A lot of these job seekers that we don't help, eventually they become hiring authorities. And are they going to ever use our industry to hire? The answer is no, because they didn't have a good experience with us. Like Pizza Hut, she's worried about people not buying pizza if they don't hire them or don't communicate with us. What I'm worried about is the people we don't communicate with eventually become a hiring authority and have a very bad taste in their mouth about our whole industry. That's why this is so critical. And I'm telling you to go into that, to go into that site and just click around, it'll take you no time at all. Is it worth 30 minutes of your time to review this in the next 24 hours? I'm telling you it is. I have never brought anything to any business owner that has not helped them financially. That's what I do. I believe in providing results to my training clients, and I'll do everything I can to help increase your profits and your referrals. I think this is one of the best, most innovative things I've done for our profession. And when I told corporate America about it yesterday, they're like, oh my God, we've never even thought of providing something like that. That is amazing. And I said, and some of the staffing and recruiting firms can let you use their career portals. And they said, why haven't we thought about something like that? That's such a great idea. So they saw the value in it instantly. And I'm telling you, there's no downside to this. I have no dissatisfied customers that own these career portals that I would love to be able to show you the benefits as well. Also, I'm here to answer any of your questions. I've got a few of you asking if you could ask me questions after the call. Of course you can. Call that number, ask for me. I'm going on another webinar at 1 o'clock. I've got a webinar from 1 to 2 Central Standard Time. And then after that, I'll be available to talk to you. Let's see. Thank you so much. You've really provided me with great tools to use. Well, you're very welcome. And again, guys, just call our office. This takes a matter of minutes. And I would love more than anything else to have this be one way that we can help you increase profits, increase referrals, basically have your recruiters manage their time better. And when your recruiters are making money and you're making money, everybody's happy and everything works. It's when they're not that they become unhappy and disgruntled and you've got all kinds of problems as a business owner. This helps alleviate that. All right, everybody, thanks for joining me. If you've got any additional questions, please just, email us, call us, send an email to that support@staffingandrecruiting.com, and we will get the URL to everybody on the line so you can go, or you can just go to, myjobsourceresources.com and, and log in as a job seeker. So I hope that we hear from you. I'd love to answer any questions, and I hope you're having a record-breaking third quarter so far because business is really booming out there. And if your office is not, you've really got to stand back as the owner and try to analyze what's not working because right now business is very strong. Thanks for joining me, everybody. Have a great day.